Mia Torres thought she was chasing beauty, but when she met Vanessa Cruz, the infamous butt lady, she walked straight into a nightmare that would expose the dark side of Hollywood's obsession with perfection. Mia Torres moved through life under the bright lights of Los Angeles, a city where appearances often mattered more than reality. From the outside, her life looked perfect. She had a growing fan base, appeared at glamorous parties, and had a social media presence that drew thousands of followers. Each picture, each carefully posed video showcased her as the ideal young actress, someone who seemed destined for stardom. But behind the sparkling smiles and perfectly styled hair, Mia carried a gnawing insecurity. She compared herself constantly to other actresses and influencers, scrutinizing her body in ways no one else saw. The pressure to remain relevant in an industry that judged beauty above all else weighed heavily on her, shaping her every decision. Every audition, every casting call seemed like a reminder that even her talent might not be enough unless she fit a certain mold. Mia became fascinated by the idea of cosmetic enhancements. She spent hours scrolling through social media, watching videos of transformations and reading reviews from people who claimed to have achieved the perfect figure overnight. It was in one of these videos that she first heard about Vanessa Cruz, known on the internet as the Butt Lady. Vanessa's work was showcased with glossy before and after photos that made the results seem miraculous. Young women praised her skill, claiming that her procedures were painless and that her results were immediate and flawless. The more Mia watched, the more convinced she became that Vanessa could help her achieve the look she had always dreamed of, a curvy, sculpted figure that would set her apart in auditions and on red carpets. The allure was irresistible. Vanessa's reputation, though mostly confined to the underground world of cosmetic enhancements, carried an air of mystique. Her appointments were booked weeks in advance, and she cultivated an image of exclusivity. She was secretive but approachable, professional yet edgy, and she made each client feel special, like they were part of an elite circle that others could only dream of joining. Mia felt drawn into this world, imagining herself walking into auditions with newfound confidence, certain that her figure would finally match the talent she possessed. Mia's friends noticed the change in her. She became more secretive, spending long hours researching procedures and messaging Vanessa online. She seemed obsessed with perfection, talking endlessly about the promises of dramatic results. It wasn't just about vanity. It was about survival in a ruthless industry where one misstep could mean fading into obscurity. The combination of her fear of being left behind and the seductive promise of a quick fix made her decisions more impulsive than she might have admitted, even to herself. The day of her appointment arrived with an odd mixture of excitement and nervous tension. Mia dressed carefully, selecting an outfit that would be casual yet flattering, wanting to look presentable but not overdressed. The streets of Los Angeles buzzed around her as she drove toward Vanessa's studio, the city a blur of bright lights and honking cars. Every passing moment seemed to heighten the anticipation, the mix of hope and anxiety coursing through her veins. She reminded herself that she was taking control of her body and her career, that this choice was hers alone. Mia didn't realize that in seeking perfection, she was stepping into a world where appearances could mask deadly consequences, a world that would soon turn her life into a cautionary tale no one could ignore. The studio where Vanessa Cruz worked was deceptively elegant, with sleek white walls, soft lighting, and modern furniture that made it look like a professional spa. Mirrors lined the walls, reflecting the polished surfaces and giving the space a sense of endless depth. There was a faint scent of antiseptic mixed with floral air freshener, a combination meant to reassure clients that they were in a safe, sterile environment. Vanessa greeted Mia with a warm smile, her charm disarming in a way that made her appear trustworthy. Every detail of the studio was carefully curated to project professionalism, from the neatly arranged bottles and syringes to the carefully framed certificates on the wall. It was a space designed to make people believe they were making a smart, harmless choice. Mia felt a rush of excitement as she followed Vanessa to the treatment room. The chair looked comfortable, almost luxurious, with soft leather cushions and adjustable settings. Bright but not harsh lights illuminated the area, highlighting the tools and supplies neatly organized on a stainless steel tray. Vanessa explained the procedure briefly, emphasizing the safety of the injection and the immediate, dramatic results. Mia listened intently, her nerves subsiding as she watched Vanessa work with precision and confidence. There was a fluidity in her movements, a practiced skill that seemed to promise perfection. Vanessa reassured Mia that the silicone used was top grade and carefully measured, insisting that it was popular among celebrities who wanted instant results without downtime. The process began, and at first Mia felt nothing but slight pressure. The room was quiet except for the faint hum of air conditioning and the soft clink of instruments. She watched in the mirror as her body slowly changed shape under Vanessa's hands. It was surreal, almost magical. Within minutes, Mia could see the curves she had long dreamed of taking form, a transformation that seemed too good to be true. Her excitement grew, and any lingering fear melted away under the thrill of immediate gratification. For a brief moment, she allowed herself to believe that perfection was finally within her grasp. But the illusion didn't last. A short while after the procedure, Mia began to feel unsteady. Her vision blurred slightly, and a heaviness settled over her chest. She told herself it was normal, perhaps a reaction to the stress and excitement. Minutes later, the symptoms worsened. Her heart raced uncontrollably, her breathing became shallow, and a sharp, piercing pain spread across her body. Panic surged as she realized something was terribly wrong. She tried to move, to call for help, but her body betrayed her. The room, which had moments ago felt safe and luxurious, now seemed alien and threatening. The vibrant transformation that had thrilled her now seemed sinister. The changes to her body a cruel illusion masking a deadly reality. Within moments, Mia collapsed, her vision darkening as her heart and lungs struggled against the lethal effects of the silicone. The emergency services were called too late, and by the time paramedics arrived, she was gone. The police later described the scene as tragic and shocking. An apartment filled with the remnants of a glamorous dream turned nightmare. Vanessa A.'s carefully crafted image of expertise and charm had masked a dangerous truth. She had used an illegal substance capable of ending a life in minutes. Mia's death stunned the city and sent shockwaves through the cosmetic world, leaving friends, fans, and authorities struggling to comprehend how a procedure meant to enhance beauty could so swiftly and fatally betray the person it promised to empower. After Mia Torres' sudden death, initial reports framed the tragedy as a medical accident, a shocking but isolated event. Friends and family struggled to reconcile the glamorous image she had projected with the grim reality of her passing. Grief and confusion swept through her circle, but beneath the surface, suspicion began to simmer. Those closest to Mia recalled her fascination with Vanessa Cruz, the so-called butt lady, and the mysterious world of underground cosmetic procedures she had recently entered. The more they remembered, the more inconsistencies appeared. It wasn't just the procedure itself, it was the secrecy surrounding it, the insistence that no one could accompany her, and the urgency with which she had scheduled the appointment. Police soon began examining Vanessa's background, and what they uncovered was far from comforting. She had no legitimate medical license to perform injections, no formal certification in cosmetic procedures, and yet she had cultivated a loyal clientele, many of them young women aspiring to enter entertainment and modeling. Online reviews, which initially painted her as a miracle worker, now took on a darker tone. Hidden among the glowing testimonials were hints of pain, swelling, and in some cases, hospitalization. Investigators found forums where anonymous users described being encouraged to undergo high-risk procedures in secret, often under pressure to maintain confidentiality. Vanessa had carefully constructed a veneer of professionalism, but beneath it, Her operation was reckless, dangerous, and increasingly suspicious. Surveillance footage from the day of Mia's death added a new layer of intrigue. Cameras captured Vanessa entering Mia's building repeatedly, her visits brief but frequent, as though she were checking on her client in ways that went beyond a simple cosmetic procedure. Investigators began to question her motives and her methods. Why had she insisted on using unregulated silicone? Why had she scheduled the session in secrecy and without a licensed professional present? Each answer led to more questions. The forensic team AS work revealed that the substance injected into Mia's body was illegally sourced, untested, and potent enough to cause rapid systemic failure. It was no accident. The fatal outcome was directly tied to the material and the way it had been administered. As the investigation unfolded, authorities discovered discrepancies in Vanessa's records. Client files had been forged, dates altered, and reports falsified to cover up previous incidents. Interviews with other women who had undergone her treatments revealed similar experiences: sudden pain, prolonged illness, and in some cases, lasting physical damage. Vanessa's charm and persuasive skills had convinced these women to ignore warning signs, to trust her without question. It became clear that Mia's death was part of a larger pattern, a web of negligence and deliberate deception carefully hidden beneath the image of a trusted beauty expert. Public attention began to mount, fueled by media coverage and social media speculation. The nickname Butt Lady spread rapidly, attaching itself to Vanessa in headlines and posts that highlighted both the sensational and the horrifying aspects of the case. As detectives pieced together the timeline, it became evident that Mia had not been the first young woman to fall victim to Vanessa's methods, nor would she be the last if action was not taken. The story grew darker with each revelation. A glamorous industry figure, a secretive procedure, and a rising death toll, all linked by one woman whose outward charm concealed a growing pattern of danger and deception. The world that had seemed safe and aspirational for Mia was now a scene of calculated risk and fatal consequences, and investigators knew they were only beginning to scratch the surface of a hidden criminal enterprise. As the investigation into Mia Torres' death deepened, law enforcement began to uncover a disturbing pattern that extended far beyond a single tragic incident. Vanessa Cruz, the woman known online as the Butt Lady, had been operating in the shadows of Los Angeles' beauty and entertainment industry for years. Her methods were meticulous, her clients carefully selected, and her procedures deliberately shrouded in secrecy. Detectives discovered that she had targeted young women who were ambitious, trusting, and eager to enhance their appearance quickly, aspiring actresses, models, and social media influencers who were accustomed to taking risks for their careers. Each appointment was framed as an exclusive, private opportunity, which made it easier for Vanessa to exert control over her clients while avoiding oversight from any regulatory authorities. Forensic analysis of Mia's death revealed that the silicone injections were not only illegal, but also administered in quantities calculated to produce extreme and dangerous effects. Investigators concluded that the substance itself was a ticking time bomb, capable of causing respiratory failure and cardiac arrest within minutes. When coupled with Vanessa's precise technique, it became clear that her procedures had a high probability of turning fatal. Interviews with former clients painted a grim picture of repeated warnings that had been ignored or dismissed. Women spoke of being reassured that minor discomfort was normal, that any complications would pass, and that secrecy was necessary to protect their public image. Beneath the glossy facade of a beauty expert was someone who treated her clients' lives as variables in an elaborate experiment, their health secondary to her ambition and control. Evidence collected from Vanessa's studio added a chilling layer to the investigation. Detectives found vials of silicone labeled with names, dates, and cryptic instructions that suggested premeditation and careful calculation. Some documents appeared to track each client's physical measurements, while others contained notes about precise injection points and amounts. It became apparent that Vanessa was keeping meticulous records, not for medical safety, but to maintain control over the outcomes that in some cases included serious injury or death. Investigators also discovered a network of online accounts and messaging threads where she promoted her services and recruited new clients. The sophistication of her operation was striking. She combined the illusion of professionalism with the secrecy of an underground network, making it difficult for authorities to trace her activities until tragedy forced the issue. As authorities built their case, public outrage grew. The media seized on the story, emphasizing the stark contrast between Vanessa's glamorous online persona and the deadly reality of her work. Headlines painted her as both cunning and cruel, a figure whose charm and apparent expertise masked a pattern of exploitation and negligence. Families of other young women came forward, revealing their own narrow escapes and warning signs that had gone ignored. Each testimony reinforced the image of Vanessa as a manipulative and calculating figure, someone who understood both human psychology and the desperation of her clients, and used that knowledge to maintain control while evading detection. The deeper investigators dug, the clearer it became that Mia Torres' death was not an isolated accident, but part of a broader criminal enterprise. Vanessa's actions revealed a cold, deliberate disregard for human life, masked by a veneer of beauty and professionalism. Every detail of her operation, from the careful selection of clients to the illegal substances, the secrecy of the studio, and the calculated use of her skill, painted a portrait of a woman who turned vanity and ambition into a deadly game. The investigation had moved beyond tragedy into a pursuit of justice, as authorities realized that stopping Vanessa was the only way to prevent more lives from being destroyed in pursuit of perfection. The arrest of Vanessa Cruz sent shockwaves through Los Angeles and the beauty industry. Dubbed the Butt Lady by the media, she quickly became a household name. Her image splashed across television screens and online headlines. The public was both horrified and fascinated by the story, unable to reconcile the glamorous persona she had cultivated with the chilling reality of her actions. Law enforcement described her as calculating, manipulative, and highly skilled at creating an illusion of safety while operating a deadly underground business. Her arrest was the result of months of painstaking investigation, combining forensic evidence, client testimonies, and digital tracking to build a case strong enough to ensure she could no longer endanger others. During the trial, prosecutors laid out the details of Mia Torres' death and the broader pattern of illegal procedures that Vanessa had conducted. The evidence was overwhelming. Falsified client records, secret vials of illegal silicone, surveillance footage, and numerous testimonies from women who had narrowly avoided serious injury. Experts in toxicology and cosmetic procedures explained the danger of the substances Vanessa had used and the deliberate risks involved. The courtroom was filled with tension as the story of a young actress' ambition turning deadly unfolded before the public, exposing a side of the cosmetic industry that few had imagined. Each revelation painted Vanessa not as a careless practitioner, but as someone who had knowingly manipulated her clients' trust for profit and control. The prosecution also highlighted Vanessa's psychological tactics, demonstrating how she preyed on insecurities, manipulated trust, and cultivated dependency among her clients. Women described being convinced that secrecy was essential, that her procedures were the only way to achieve results, and that any discomfort or warning signs were normal. This pattern of coercion and deception became a central theme of the trial, showing that Mia's death was part of a broader scheme rather than an isolated tragedy. The courtroom atmosphere was heavy, with the gravity of the crimes pressing on everyone present. Families of victims testified, sharing stories of fear, injury, and the lasting impact of Vanessa's actions. Their voices carried a haunting weight, underscoring the human cost of vanity manipulated for profit. Outside the courtroom, The story sparked debate about underground cosmetic procedures and the risks faced by those seeking quick results. Authorities used the case to raise awareness about unlicensed practitioners, the dangers of illegal silicone, and the importance of transparency and regulation in cosmetic procedures. Social media erupted with discussions, both critical and sensational, as people grappled with the shocking details. Vanessa's fall from perceived glamour to criminal infamy served as a stark warning. Appearances could be deceiving, and even the most charming persona could conceal a pattern of deadly behavior. In the end, Vanessa Cruz was convicted on multiple counts, including involuntary manslaughter and practicing medicine without a license. The sentence was severe, reflecting the calculated nature of her crimes and the tragic loss of life she had caused. Justice for Mia Torres and the other women was finally served, but the story left a lasting mark on the city and the industry. What began as a pursuit of beauty and ambition ended in tragedy, deception, and accountability. The tale of the butt lady became a cautionary narrative, reminding the world that trust, desperation, and the allure of perfection could intersect with lethal consequences, and that even the most polished surface can hide a dangerous truth.